I've run into a couple of different issues with this thing, and that's why we don't make furniture out of particle board, folks. Not entirely sure what happened there, but I'll figure it out one way or the other. So that is why you don't buy cheap stuff from IKEA. Hey guys, in today's video, I take a large mistake in communication with a customer and turn a desk ornament into a fully functioning piece of furniture. Stick around. So this whole escapade started when a woman reached out to me wanting me to build a rocking chair for her daughter who had just had a baby. I said, sure, I've always wanted to try to build one on a CNC machine. Would that be okay with you? And she said, of course. So I sent her a few designs of some DXF files that I had found on Etsy. You can see a couple of the examples here. And she wound up settling on this one. We settled on a price. I bought the DXF file, took a deposit from her, and then as I'm getting ready to start the cut, I noticed a little note on the side that says... Now, for those who don't know, 3mm is a pretty common thickness for the plywood that you would buy if you were laser carving a small toy or something like that. That's right, folks. I didn't buy a DXF file for a fully functioning chair. What I bought was a DXF file for a desk ornament. Yeah, needless to say, not my finest moment. Now at this point you're probably thinking the best thing to do would have been to contact the customer, let them know I made a mistake, and then have them choose a different file. But I'm not always that smart, so instead I thought, let's scale it up. So I imported the file that I had just purchased into Vectric Aspire, scaled everything up to where it was actually human-sized, and then started a practice cut. I wanted to build a practice chair before I tried it with the actual hardwood. So I've run into a couple of different issues with this thing. This is a relatively new CNC machine for me. I had an old one, just replaced it with this one, and I got some inconsistencies. So I've got some where, this is where the bit slipped. You can see how, it's cut down not only through the material, but into the spoil board. After I fixed that, after the bit slipped, I still got some inconsistencies. You can see right here where it's cut down into, but not through the laminate, whatever this layer is, the top layer, I forgot it. And then I've got some where it cut through everything, but didn't even get through the particle board before it got to the veneer. Not entirely sure what happened there, but I'll figure it out one way or the other. Right now I gotta get this off the table and see what we have. And since the CNC machine hadn't cut all the way through consistently, I had to take my palm router with a little flush trim bit just to be able to cut everything out the way that I needed to, but I was able to get all the pieces off the table. All right, so I took the jigsaw, I cut out all the pieces of each one of these parts of the chair. There's a lot of little rough spots and stuff that needs to be cleaned up. So I'm gonna take the palm router with the flush trim bit and I'm gonna cut all around this. I'm not gonna get too aggressive with it, or this is just a sample piece. More than likely, this is just gonna be in the shop for us to sit down whenever we need to rest our weary legs. But that's what we're gonna do at this point. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. The old adage, measure twice, cut once for woodworking is probably a good one to follow in just about every circumstance. Why build an entirely new chair? Why not just make sure your cuts are 100% accurate? That works when you're doing a technique or building something that has been proven. This is a totally new proof of concept for me. I've never flat packed a CNC built chair before, which is why we're building a sample. Now, I hope it's gonna work out, but I really don't know, and that's what this is for. Okay, test successful. There's obviously some stuff I'm gonna do different on the final project here. Round over the edges, gonna put some more supports in. I'm not gonna attach it all with screws, but more with dowels and glue. Maybe a few pocket holes here and there, and I'm gonna put some cross supports right in the bottom because as you can see, there's quite a bit of lateral movement here. But it's sturdy enough, at least for 175 pounds. So, on to the next. So Jason, who is one of my employees, there he is, good guy, said, hey, you wanna test it on more than 175? What are you weighing right now?
About 300.
About 300? Okay, so about 300 he sat on it. And that's why we don't make furniture out of particle board, folks. That is why you don't buy cheap stuff from IKEA. With the proof of concept proven, we glued up a panel of red oak and started cutting on the CNC machine and ran into this problem. All right, so not entirely sure exactly what to do about this yet, but let me show you what we ran into here. Problem. This is supposed to be the interior piece for the bottom section of the rocking chair. That's the design, and this is the line right there. This needs to be wider. I didn't set my y-axis far enough over, or my x-axis far enough over on the CNC machine. And this was the final piece of wood. So now I have to somehow figure out how to not move the wood at all, because I've already got these pieces cut and they're perfect. So I need to figure out exactly how to readjust everything so that I can move that piece in. Back to the drawing board. So there was just enough room to flip it 180 degrees and have that piece be cut out on that side with a small gouge out of what would become the armrest. You can kind of see it in this shot. Wood filler to the rescue. So we're done with the CNC portion of this right now. Issue that I've got, again, it's the same thing that I had last time. Looks like there might have been some inconsistencies in the depth of the material. There's some points where I'm cut all the way through down to the spoil board, some points where I'm not. So just got to deal with that, and we will see what it looks like when all said and done. So I'm going to take this off, cut the pieces out, and assemble. From here, I took a good number of tools to try to get all these pieces out. You know, the palm router, the multi-tool, the jigsaw, anything and everything. But really, all that does is showcase how poor I am with the CNC machine. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show you guys this because, honestly, I'm not very good at it. But I once heard it said that I never fail, I only win or I learn. But we did the same process that we did this time around, learning as we go. Taking the palm router to round over the edges on the solid wood pieces, the same as we did on that sample piece that Jason crushed. All right, so that's one side of the chair done, except for sanding. But I'm feeling fairly pleased with how this has come out. There's a couple little gouges that I'm going to have to address and fill, little tiny stuff, but that is one solid piece of half of a rocking chair. Anyway, get back to the rest here. Have you guys ever actually watched paint dry before? You know, watch the sheen come out of the wet paint as it dries. Watch it become what it's supposed to be. No, no one ever has. No one wants to watch paint dry, and no one wants to watch me sand either. So this is the beam that's going to actually add support to the seat in connection with the side portions of the chair. Putting this on here and hoping that the next time Jason sits on this thing, it's not going to collapse. Just kidding, Jason. I love ya. So after we put the seat top on, I grabbed a couple more pieces of oak, put some pocket holes in them. I was going to put 3 supports across this center stretcher here. 1 right in the center there, and then 2 more on the rockers just above. Then as I went to go put the first pocket hole in, it started to split the wood. So instead, I decided to use dowels. This would be marking the center part of that stretcher where the dowel hole is going to go, and also putting some holes in the end parts of the center beam that's going to be the lateral support beam, and getting ready to put it all together. Pushing the dowels through from the outside was really simple. It did leave me with a little, I don't know what you call it, nub on the outside that I'll address later. Put all 3 of those on, glued them, let them sit for a while, came back, and everything was looking nice and sturdy. Using the same tactic for the backrest as I did for the seat top. That's just some wood glue with some brad nails, a couple of clamps to hold it in place while it dries. Attached the backrest to those vertical supports and included this shot just so I could say the word nubs again. Process was pretty simple at this point. Went through and sanded off all the, wait for it, nubs, and everything else on the chair to make sure it was nice and smooth. The customer wanted it unfinished and they were going to come pick it up about 15 minutes after I completed. There you have it, folks. Good sturdy chair. Turned out just fine. The customer wanted it unfinished, so we're going to leave it just as is, and they're here to pick it up here in about 10 minutes. But the next time you're looking at something and thinking, I wonder if I can take this desk ornament and turn it into a piece of solid furniture, don't. And if you ever find yourself in a place where the customer asks you to build something you're unfamiliar with and you make a mistake in the initial estimate, just wing it.